They gave me a step to stand on so you could see me. But I have to admit that I like being down amongst people when I speak. I don't like being behind a podium. So I hope you can see me. And I hope people that are just kind of realizing we're going to start the program will kind of wander forward. Because this is an incredibly special day for Cupertino. This corner is a huge part of our history. And I've lived here for over 35 years, so I remember when the Cali Mill was on this corner. How many of you remember when the Cali Mill was on this corner? Yes, wonderful. And we have the Cali family here. Ron Cali and his family. He's going to speak to you in a little bit. I remember going in there and buying all kinds of animal supplies and foods as my son was growing up, and we raised about every kind of animal you could imagine at our house. So this is almost a sacred place for us. It's full of memories. It's full of our heritage. It has warm, fuzzy feelings for all of us. And over the years, those of you that know me know that I've been on your city council for over 7 years and on the school board before that for 8. So for the last 15 and a half years, I've been hearing about we want this center of the city to be a public space. We want it to be a space that we can all enjoy. We want it to be a space where we can come together and share our experiences, our hopes, our joys, our tears. And we want it to be an active space. You asked us for a wonderful 5-star hotel. We brought you one. On this plaza now, there will be Park Place Restaurant, which was Helios, now changing their name in order to include the plaza, the outdoors inside. And they are very graciously providing food and beverages today as one of our partners. And Rhonda, I don't know where you are. Where is Rhonda? There's Rhonda. Please give Rhonda a big hand. Rhonda has been wonderful. And the new Park Place. They are completely open for you to wander through today to experience the ambiance of this wonderful restaurant. I have to tell you that when I was sworn in as your mayor in December, I was a bit in a quandary because we have a lot of wonderful new things to open in Cupertino. We opened the sports center, we opened the teen center, we had an identity theft forum, which was at dinner time. We have this opening and our library opening, and no money to do anything at the openings. No money to provide food, no money to provide bands, because if you've been following us, you know that the budget is a serious problem in California, and we have cut everything we possibly can. And I have to tell you that we couldn't do the things we do without the partnerships we have. So for the Identity Theft Forum, I went to all the restaurants, and not one of them said no to me, and they provided all the food. Oh, hi there, Mr. Restaurant. Provided all the food for us at the Identity Theft Forum. And this event, I really wanted people to experience what was going to be here. Boulanger will be over in this area. Their interior is not complete, but they brought tables and chairs and food and beverages. And Dan, where are you from Boulanger? Please say hello to Boulanger. And they are also providing, free of charge, food and beverages for the whole afternoon, morning and afternoon. The Cypress Hotel, Lisa Kirshner. Lisa, the general manager of the Cypress Hotel. They have opened their hotel. They have their major banquet rooms open and set up so that you can take a look at them. One is set up for a wedding reception. One is set up for a business conference, the kinds of things that they do all the time. We have brought back so many activities to Cupertino that were outside of our city, like the Cupertino Education Endowment Foundation, major fundraisers here every year. The Chamber of Commerce Citizen and Businesses of the Year is here every year. We've brought a lot of that back into Cupertino, so you can start having your events that you celebrate life here in your city instead of going to neighboring cities. So the partnerships that have been a part of this are critically important to what's happening today, and it really speaks to who we are. This land is not owned by the city of Cupertino. It is owned by Prometheus Development, and Prometheus is allowing us to develop and to partner on this land. They also have hired the band today, and the entertainment is here. So I'd like you to say hello to Jackie and Dan Saphir from Prometheus Development. Please stand up. so you can be acknowledged. And their 2 children came all the way down from San Francisco to be with us today. The Kimpton Group, which owns both the Cypress Hotel and Park Place, of course, are also an integral part of what's happening here today. Moda d'Italia is going to be, I haven't met them yet, but I believe they're here. Moda d'Italia is a men's clothing shop, which will also be located over here in the corner. And I know they're here somewhere today to join us, and they will be doing their own grand opening. I understand, complete with Giants players. I was told that I'm going to be escorted by JT, so we'll see if that happens or not. I'm looking forward to that. And that'll be coming up in a couple of months. So this whole area will be very, very, very exciting. I want to introduce to you the City Council that's here today, the Vice Mayor, Patrick Kwok, former Mayor, present Councilperson Richard Lowenthal, Councilwoman Chris Wang, and Councilwoman Dolly Sandoval would be here, but she's in Boston at the convention, so she sends her thank yous. And I want to acknowledge our firefighters over here in the back. They brought the fire truck over, so everybody can talk to them, and the young people can climb up on a fire truck and have an exciting experience. Let me walk you through a little bit of what this plaza is all about, because we planned it together. Prometheus, Kimpton, Park Place, the city of Cupertino, to be an interactive kind of place. So we're going to talk about this wonderful sculpture, which is funded by Apple Computer. And I don't know, is Mike here? I know Mike was going to be here. Apple Computer funded the sculpture for us because, as you know, we don't have money for public art either. So we're sort of we're at the mercy of good partnerships with our businesses, and Apple was nice enough to come up with the finances for this sculpture, and the artist is here and he will explain it to you a little bit later. But starting with the sculpture, we have numerous gardens. Right here to my left of the sculpture is what is called the Asian Garden, and it has various plants from Asia in acknowledgement of both of our sister cities, the Toyokawa from Japan and Hsinchu City from China and others. Over here, as you go beyond the band, and you'll see that there are 3 square areas. Those are a traditional British garden and also a native Californian garden. And then that area, one of those areas, the CEF, Cupertino Education Endowment Foundation, will be doing a dedication during their gala of pavers acknowledging the major donors. We wanted this plaza to include everyone in the community, and the partnership between education and government and business is an integral and important part of who we are. So that's a way for us to acknowledge that. As you move over here, then you have more of the native California plants. And of course you have all kinds of areas. As you can see, the seating straight beyond me here with the wonderful wooden tables and chairs, those are from Park Place. And they have access to dine outside and out into the plaza, so you can have receptions and bar mitzvahs and wedding receptions and symphony presentations and all kinds of activities here, which you schedule through the City Parks and Rec Department. 777 City. And we're just kind of getting that together. We want this to be a very active community place for people to gather and to celebrate life. Back here where you see the bamboo plants, and then there's a grassy area behind, really didn't have a name, but Rick Kitson and I decided it should be called the Cupertino Garden. What do you think? Because there really isn't one. So we're going to call that the Cupertino Garden unless someone objects. I thought that was a very good idea. That's just a real simple walk through. We're going to turn on the fountains a little bit later, and the fountains are wonderful. I think you're going to like those as kind of our grand finale. I wanted to ask the Fine Arts Commission to come up. Carl Orr, the commission of this sculpture was a very lengthy process, which included a lot of public input. And believe me, I'm the first one to tell you that there is not one piece of public art that everybody likes. There just isn't, There isn't. Art is in the eye of the beholder. So some people do, some people don't. Some people do see different things. And one of the things we liked best about this, and Roger Berry, the artist, will speak to it later, is that it changes wherever you look at it and at different times of the day. But I wanted to share with you by having one of our fine arts commissioners. And a commission, we have 10 of them, by the way. The commissioners are appointed by the city council. They serve without pay, and they give a lot of their time to represent the community on various issues like planning and housing and teens and seniors and the fine arts. So could you come up for just a moment, Carl, and explain a little bit about what that process was?
Hi, and I'd like to welcome everybody here. The Fine Arts Commission is just as proud as anybody with the result of the whole park. What you're seeing is the result of more than 5 years of work by the Fine Arts Commission. We started out with 43 entries when we called for artists. We weeded those down, narrowed them down to 8. From the 8 we interviewed and went farther. We narrowed it down to 4. We worked with the Parks and Recreation Commission. We worked with Prometheus. We narrowed it on down to the finalist, Roger Berry. Roger Berry actually had presented a different concept. What you see is an evolution. It's evolved from original concepts to something that I just feel is absolutely sterling. But that's a little bit of the background. It's over 5 years and many hours, regular committee meeting hours and other hours. And what you see is an outstanding result. Thank you.
So now you're going to hear from the artist, and I'm always fascinated with hearing an artist explain their work of art and the process that he went through to get to it. So why don't you join me in welcoming our artist, and he'll explain to you his sculpture. Welcome.
Everything up until now has been very easy. Trying to explain what I do is very hard. But let me start with what this geometric form is, so maybe you all can begin to understand how I built it. And it is simply 4 bands of stainless steel that the outside surface describes a sphere. Inside is a cube. Pull the cube away, leave the bands, and that's what the sculpture is. Now you can make one at home. This project is one of the most amazing challenges I've had in a 30-year career. And the reason it was a challenge is that I got to be part of the definition of what this entire plaza would be. And those of you who've been around for a while will remember that this was originally going to be a 4 seasons plaza. It was going to be a kind of quiet, contemplative space. And in the 5 years to now, it has become an important, dynamic civic center, a very different kind of place. So the kinds of sculpture that I imagined when I first came here were quiet, contemplative sculptures. And when the real project began to emerge, when the real mission and the challenge of a civic plaza began to emerge, quiet and contemplative wasn't going to do it. And we went through a number of kind of cartoon phases to try to feel our way through. And when I say our way, I mean talking with members of the planning staff and the architectural staff and the Arts Commission itself, a number of different ideas. And then as I began to understand this project more, began to realize that the sculpture couldn't just simply be about the experience in the park, but it had to be about the whole experience of this corner, and to create a sculpture that was dynamic and involving for the thousands of people who drive by every day, and for all of you who are in the park at this moment, was really the challenge. And I hope I've been able to do that. That was the real task as I saw it. The name Perspectives came about after the sculpture was at least conceptualized. And I can't take credit for it, but I can certainly steal when I see a good idea. And it came from members of the Arts Commission who understood that this sculpture is a different thing from every perspective. That was the intent. It was the intent to give you something that was very engaging and very different from every point of view. And perspectives also is a kind of beautiful metaphorical word for the experience of Cupertino, which is an incredibly complex, cosmopolitan small city. And there are a million perspectives in Cupertino. And yet, all of you are here working together, being a city. I thought it was a pretty good word, so it has stuck. I just briefly want to thank a few people who were particular in making this piece possible. First, Kim Smith with the city, who kept calling me and saying, "We're going to do this." And it could not have been done without Kim. She's an amazing person to get things done. Also, Terry Green, who is the project architect on this, really, it wouldn't have happened without him, and he's occasionally good to work with. Also, in the audience, I see Nick Samuelson is here with the architects, Gazzardo Associates, wonderful group to work with. I was allowed to be at least present and contributing on a lot of planning meetings, so that I think most importantly, so I'd really understand what the park was about. And Nick and the group from Gazzardo made that very possible, and they have made an incredibly beautiful park. I think you're very fortunate to be here, and lastly, I'd just say thank you very much. It has been an honor, and congratulations, Cupertino. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do want to acknowledge our city manager. Where are you, Dave Knapp? He's around somewhere. Don't see him. Dave is here. And Therese Smith, who is our Parks and Rec director, she's here. Most of the young people you see with the blue shirts on are our Parks and Rec staff. There's Therese back there. I know Steve Piasecki is here. We have a number of staff members. There's Steve back there, planning director, and I will introduce Ralph Qualls, who is head of this project, a little bit later. Now I want to go to the historical perspective, because what we're here today to celebrate is the historical significance of this site. And built into the plans over here, Ralph, if you could just kind of point to it, it would be helpful. On these panels, there are some historical panels here, starting with the agricultural history, business history, the technology, and education. And the Historical Society was very helpful to us in putting those together. They also were helpful in the name. We asked them to have their board sit down and give us some ideas for a name, and our staff also participated in that. And out of all of those, the City Council got to choose. And we really liked the designation of Cali Mill Plaza, because it designated not only the Cali family, who have given so much to Cupertino, but the structure, the historical structure that actually lived here for a very long time. So I want to ask Christine Jeffers just for a moment to come up from the Historical Society, so that she can speak to you briefly, and then we're going to have Ron Cali and his family acknowledged, and Ron's going to speak a little bit too.
Thank you, Sandy. Welcome. It's great to see so many people out here to celebrate a new city park. And the city, I know, worked very hard on this. And the Historical Society was very, very proud to partner with them, as always. And very, very proud that the park is being named Cali Mill Plaza. Our Cali brothers was started by Ron Cali's grandfather. And his father also worked at the business. And many of you might not know, but it was the first $1 million business in Cupertino. And it was situated, I think, a little bit back over there. So I just want to say thanks for being here. I want to tell you a few things that are going on at the Historical Society. We are trying to build our membership, because we are working forward to create a center for living history at McClellan Ranch and on Louis Stockelmeyer's property. Louis Stockelmeyer was the city's historian. He passed away in the late 80s. But he left a huge legacy. He left an estate that has a beautiful orange orchard. Our plan is to try and raise money to restore and renovate that property and create a living history park where kids can come down and learn how to cut cots. They're also going to learn how to make butter, but they're also going to learn how to make silicon chips, because that's a very important part of Cupertino's history. We're right now in the study phase of that. We should have the results of our study in October, and then we'll probably be making a press release and a public announcement to the community, and I'm hoping all of you will come forward and chip in, because we're going to need not only financial support, but we're going to need a lot of volunteers to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. As I said, I've been a member of this city for a very long time, and I am privileged to have known Ron Cali for a very long time and admire him. He has been more than generous, helping us, sharing his family history, as well as helping with a lot of the fundraising issues in town. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. But Ron, when I first talked to him about could we have permission to name this Cali Mill Plaza, was more than positive. He was enthusiastic, helpful, and has his whole family here today with him so that he can tell us a little bit. I asked him to tell us a little bit about the history of his family and their business on this site. And then he and I are going to sign some commemorative posters that the Historical Society will be auctioning off for as fundraisers, but we will be giving to each of our partners here today, including Prometheus and Park Place and Boulanger, as a way of saying thank you. So Ron Cali, would you please come up? Yeah, here, you do it. You can do this better.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, everyone, and welcome. Before I begin my brief remarks, I would like to introduce my family over here. My wife, Marcia Cali, my daughter and son-in-law, Laura and Al Brighton, my daughter and her boyfriend, Liz Cali and Mike Olson, my sister, Joyce Kelly, and her two daughters, Allison and Stephanie, and then not family by blood, but by working for the family for 20 years, Karen Strobach and her husband, Terry. Karen actually goes back to the days of the mill, so she remembers where all the bodies are buried. In 1926, two Sicilian immigrant brothers purchased a 9-acre plot of land at the corner of Stevens Creek and Mountain View Saratoga roads. There was no grand design to this purchase. They simply needed a yard to accommodate the rolling stock of their fledgling agricultural trucking business. Over the next few years, that business grew and expanded, and a warehouse and feed store were added to the Cali family enterprises. Eventually, in the mid-1930s, an entire feed milling and processing plant was built on the property. Over the years, more property was acquired, shops were built, and the mill expanded. Little did Rosario and Joseph Cali know back then in the late 1920s that the business they started would give rise to a structure that would become a local landmark and would endure on that spot for over 50 years. I'm honored to be here today as a representative of our family, a family that has lived, worked, learned, and worshiped in Cupertino for 4 generations, and to witness the dedication of this beautiful plaza in commemoration of the Cali feed mill. The city of Cupertino has always held a special place in our family's hearts, and it is a distinct privilege to know that through the generosity of the city, the Cali family and the landmark that our forebears devoted their lives to will always be remembered. My grandfather, Rosario Cali, was always a forward-thinking man with original ideas. I think he would be pleased and proud to see the vibrant city center that has been built here on the site of his life's work. Mayor James, members of the council, members of the Parks and Recreation Commission, and the board of the Cupertino Historical Society, thank you all for remembering and treasuring our history. May Cupertino continue to thrive and prosper in this 21st century and beyond. Thank you all. Yeah, okay. Where do you, oh, there you go.
Okay, Ron and I are going to try to sign one of these wonderful posters, which we just got today. That's why they're not done yet. Maybe you can help me hold it up. This is a replica of the, what do you call those, Ralph? Banners that will go up here. And by the way, when you use this plaza for one of your events, you can have us put your own banners up here also. But this is a commemorative poster. We have 300 of them only. Ron and I are going to sign them all and number them. And I will be giving them as gifts to those that participated as partners today, and the rest the Historical Society will be using as a fundraiser. So there'll be something really special to have. And I think we'll sign the first one, and then we're going to fight over who gets number one. Would you hold this, Patrick? I'm going to be very gracious and give it to Ron. But I want number 2. Okay. And I want to write something special later, Ron, okay? I want to take a moment before we have the grand finale, what's going to be turn on the fountains and you can all go eat and drink and get to know each other better. I want to walk you through the vision of this center and how it connects to the rest. Oh, and I need to acknowledge, I'm just looking at Deputy Ford over there, another one of our partners, Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department. They're always here for us whenever we ask, and they're a very important part of our community. This corner was always asked by the community for us to develop as something that when you came into the city, you went, oh, there's the beginning of the center of Cupertino, the beginning of the downtown. So that was the vision here, and as you go straight down in a line here, if you go about a block diagonally, you will end up at City Center, where the town hall is, where our new library will open, and put this on your calendar, the last Friday and Saturday in October. Our beautiful new library, our beautiful new Civic Center Plaza, and our brand new community hall, where the council will be meeting and where you will be able to have performances and dinners and receptions. And right across the street from that will be the Hunter Storm Town Center development, which has a linear park going all the way from De Anza straight down and connecting into the Library Plaza. And so within this 3 or 4 block area, you will have commercial, residential, parkland, restaurants, retail, businesses, and a lot of activity and walkability, and the beginning, we hope, of a very vibrant downtown Cupertino area. So this is a very, very important part of it, and all brought together, as I say, by partnerships, because we as a city are not a rich city and we don't have the revenue to do this alone. So again, I thank all our partners. And before we turn on the fountains, I want to get Ralph Qualls up here. Ralph Qualls is our Director of Public Works, and he has been in charge of this project as he is in charge of all of our major public works projects. Our library project, as $25 million, is the largest public works project in the 50-year history of this city. He brought in the sports center 5 months ahead of time on budget. He brought in the senior center on time, on budget. We are on time and under budget with our library project. And I want to tell you, that is quite an accomplishment. And in addition to that, he's a gruffy guy, but I love working with him. He knows how to roll up his sleeves, work hard, and have fun, and that's my kind of guy. So here's Ralph Qualls.
I'm not gruffy at all, believe me. Just around the mayor, mostly. I just wanted to take a minute here because you've all heard and seen the outcome of this beautiful plaza, which is now just a shining star in the middle of our city. And it takes a lot of people. We had a great contractor with Bothman and the Gazzardo Group who did the design. But at some point, you got to get somebody who's got a lot of talent, a lot of skill, and a lot of perseverance to pull it all together detail by detail. And we're very fortunate to have in our community and on our staff someone of that caliber, and that's our city architect, Terry Green. So Terry, if you'd come up here for a minute. Terry is out here day and night as this park was being finished, worrying about every little detail, making sure everything was just right, and you can see his stamp of approval requires a great deal of effort. And to commemorate that, Terry, we've prepared a little thing for you, which I'll ask the mayor to help me give. This is a picture of Roger Berry's sculpture and the plaza behind it for Terry to keep, and it has an inscription which I'd like to read to you. Terry W. Green, City Architect, for outstanding public service to the City of Cupertino in bringing Cali Mill Plaza from a dream to reality. July 4th, 2004. Thank you, Terry. And thank you from all of Cupertino.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, now, Terry, it's time for you to get to work. We're going to turn the fountains. We're going to turn the fountains on, let go of some balloons, ask you to get up and walk around and experience the environment here. Say hello to all the people I introduced you to that have come forth to help celebrate this day. And don't remember, this is your plaza. We want you to use it. It's an active space. So if you want to schedule something here, call City Hall. Please come and make use of the wonderful restaurants and stores and facilities that you see here. So Terry, can we turn on the fountains, please? There they go. Enjoy.